Okay, good morning everyone. Hope you all safe with a good health. With you, Ms. Dina Al-Badri, science teacher for grade 7. Today we will complete our first lesson, water and its properties. And at first we will talk about the structure of water molecules. Matter is made up of tiny particles called atoms, which can join with other atoms to make molecules. So the matter is made up of tiny particles. These tiny particles, we called it atoms, which can join to with other atoms to make a molecule. So if we have a molecules of water is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. In other words, H2O. Okay, so the water is molecules or atom? No, molecules. Why? Because it consists of 2 hydrogen atom and 1 oxygen atom. Okay, what is the simple scientific formula for the water molecules? H2O. Each hydrogen atom is linked to the oxygen atom, forming a shape like a cartoon mouse Earth is sticking out from its head. Okay, the water molecules have a partial positive charge around the hydrogen atom, and partial negative charge at the oxygen atom. So the oxygen has negative partial charge, and the hydrogen has positive partial charge. Anything that has positive charge at one end and a negative charge at the other end, we call it have a polarity. Okay, so the water has a polarity. A water molecule is the polar. In liquid water, the negative end of each water molecule is attracted to the positive end of another water molecule. Okay, so we talk why we call the water a polar. Because it contains negative charge and positive charge. Negative charge at the oxygen atom, positive charge at the hydrogen atom. Why we call the water molecule? Because it consists of a group of atoms, 2 hydrogen atoms, 1 oxygen atom. What is the scientific formula or chemical formula for the water? H2O. Okay? Most of Earth's water is in liquid form. Liquid water can change into an invisible gas called water vapor, or it can freeze into solid like ice or snow. Did you see the shape of the water molecules? Okay, did you see? 2 hydrogen atom and 1 oxygen atom. What are the properties of water? The first property we will talk about cohesion. Water molecules stick together because of their polarity. So water has high cohesion because it has high polarity. So because of cohesion, water forms drop and can fill a glass above the rim. Also because of the cohesion, some insects can walk on the still water. So when I ask you why the insects, the small insects can walk on the water, because the water has the cohesion property, which make the molecules of water like a land. Okay? We have another property, we call it surface tension. It's the property of the surface of a liquid that allow it to resist an external force due to the cohesive nature of its molecules. So, because of the cohesion property, we have another property, we call it surface tension. What is the meaning of surface tension? Is a property of the surface of the liquid that allow it to resist an external force due to the cohesive nature of its molecules. Water molecules want to clinging to each other at the surface. There are fewer water molecules since there is air above the water molecules. This results in a strong bond between these molecules. Okay, that's all in the surface tension. We have other than surface tension is responsible for the shape of the liquid drop. Okay, so easily deformed droplets of the water tend to be pulled into a spherical shape by the cohesive force of the surface layer. Okay. Did you see? Surface tension, molecules at the surface form a strong bond. يبقى at the surface the water make a strong bond. So we call this property surface tension. Did you see how these insects can stick their legs on water surface because of a cohesive of water and surface tension of water? We have another property, we called it adhesion, the property that holds molecules of different substances together is called adhesion. Water molecules can stick to the molecules of other polar substances which are said to be unwettable or waterproof materials which are made up of non-polar molecules. So the adhesion, the property that holds molecules of different substances together. Okay, this is adhesion property. Did you see? This is adhesion property, the first one. Okay. The energy needed to heat a substance by a particular amount is called specific heat. So, water has another property we call the specific heat. Because of its polarity, water has high specific heat and can absorb more energy than many other substances can. Water has the ability to store and release heat, which is very important in regulating the weather and climate. Okay, so what the meaning of the specific heat? The energy needed to heat substance by a particular amount is called specific heat. A liquid that dissolves most of material is water, so we call the water a common solvent. Because of its polarity, water dissolves many substances and is often called the universal solvent or common solvent. Okay, so what the meaning of the common solvent? Most of material dissolve in water.
Life, as we know it, would not exist without water. Over 70% of the planet is covered in water, and our bodies are around 70% water. But why is water so important? The structure of a water molecule and the fact that it is capable of forming hydrogen bonds with multiple other water molecules simultaneously provides water molecules with some very unique characteristics. These include the ability to act as a universal solvent, the properties of cohesion and adhesion, a high surface tension, a high heat capacity, and changes in density based on temperature. Let's take a look at each of these in turn. Water is often called the universal solvent, which means that many substances dissolve in it. Water's solvency has to do with the polarity and hydrogen bonding ability of water molecules. When a salt, such as sodium chloride, is placed in water, the negative ends of the water molecules are attracted to the positively charged sodium ions, and the positive ends of the water molecules are attracted to the negatively charged chloride ions. This attraction causes the sodium and chloride ions to break up or dissociate in water. Why is this important? Since our cells are mostly water, these solutions of ions and molecules allow chemical reactions to occur much more frequently, which is an important feature to allow organisms to respond to their environment. Water molecules are also cohesive and adhesive. The hydrogen bonds in water cause water molecules to stick together, a property known as cohesion. Polar bonds also give molecules an adhesive property, or the ability to cling to other polar surfaces. Why is this important? Well, water fills the internal transport systems of plants and animals. Because of these cohesive and adhesive properties, water allows for the efficient transport of nutrients and wastes within an organism. Water also has a high level of surface tension. Because water molecules at the surface are more strongly attracted to each other than to the air above, water molecules cling tightly to each other. The surface tension of water explains why it beads up on waxy surfaces and why water-striding insects are able to walk on the surface of water. Water has a high capacity for heat. What this means is that the many hydrogen bonds that link water molecules let water absorb a large amount of heat without changing its chemical state, for example, from liquid to gas. This not only stabilizes the temperature of bodies of water, such as lakes and oceans, but also plays an important role in the physiology of an organism. Since life is based on water, and the temperature of water rises and falls slowly, living organisms are better able to maintain their normal internal temperatures and are protected from rapid temperature changes. And finally, the density of water is based on its temperature. Unlike many other compounds which contract when they freeze, the configuration of the hydrogen bonds in water causes it to expand when it freezes. This expansion causes ice to have a lower density than liquid water, and therefore ice floats on liquid water. If ice were more dense than water, it would sink, and ponds and lakes would freeze solid, making life there impossible. Instead, bodies of water always freeze from the top down. The ice on the surface acts as an insulator to protect the water below from freezing. This protects organisms so they can survive the winter.